Hello everyone, welcome to Abundantly Minimal. It's Sarah here and I hope you're doing well. This was not the video I originally intended upon making, but just given the current levels of uncertainty as well as health concerns with the coronavirus being pretty widespread at this point, I thought that this was the right video to make rather than just my normal schedule. And in today's video, I just want to share a few reminders for us as well as some insights to how we view the situation and how we act in a more minimal way. Just because I've read some different news stories and also seen some different examples of panic buying and people being really nervous, which, your fears are totally validated, but I think we can carry ourselves in a way that is more positive and also just to think about the different layers that come from our actions. A first approach that I think is important for us during this time is to make sure we're avoiding buying things out of pure panic or hysteria. Obviously, everyone must draw the line for themselves to the level of preparedness that they wish to have and the amount of items they wish to buy. Obviously, that's something that, you're in charge of your own money. You decide how it's best to be spent. But I do think I've noticed examples, like I said, both in the news as well as in some cases when we've been out, of people really stocking up and maybe crossing the line a little bit in terms of the amount of items they're buying. Of course, when we're afraid, we do things we wouldn't normally do. But I think these kind of actions can have consequences. First of all, it is important to acknowledge just how supply and demand work. And when there is suddenly a dramatic increase in demand for a product, that can dramatically lower the supply. And unfortunately, what tends to happen is people of privilege are more so able to access these items than those who do not have that privilege. And we're certainly seeing this happen right now, whether it's with toilet paper or other items. People are stocking up who can store large quantities of these items, who have the money to be able to spend even hundreds of dollars extra forming a stockpile. And when that happens and supplies are completely out, there are those who actually need those items who can't get them. And so I think it's important for us to acknowledge what is that healthy amount to keep extra so we feel secure without negatively affecting others. At least at the time of recording this, companies are still producing these items and the supplies are going to continue being restocked, again, at least at the current moment. So there's not as much concern of, you'll never be able to get any more ever. With that in mind, let's be mindful of the amount we're consuming, as well as making sure we're not buying things out of fear. From a decluttering approach, a lot of people hold on to items because they're afraid of letting it go, or what if they need to purchase it again in the future, or maybe out of guilt of letting it go because it's a sentimental item. The same kind of fears encourage people to panic buy, this just-in-case culture. Well, what if this happens and I need this particular item? I think it's important for us to be mindful of this before making a lot of panic purchases. Another layer that comes from some of this hysteria or fear is that people are avoiding certain businesses. And unfortunately, the groups that are affected most by this are small and local businesses. So within reason, if you are able to frequent any of these local businesses, they would really benefit from that. So I know in general, this year in 2020, my husband Jake and I have been trying to limit our spending. And one of the things we've reduced is the times we're going out to eat. But yesterday we did actually go to one of our cute local restaurants that actually just opened this year to get food from there, just to help support them and make sure that they're doing okay in these tougher financial times. So if you've got any local places like that, that could be really meaningful. I also think flexibility is really important here as we think about these uncertain times. And that flexibility can come from both changing our schedules and rethinking the way we're living our lives, as well as rethinking the way we use different items. Certainly there's a lot of schedule changes and work changes and just changes in the way that we are used to operating and what our everyday life looks like. And while these changes can definitely have negative effects, I especially feel for those who may have lost their job or may not be able to continue working their job during this time and then thus not having that income coming in, but we can try to use this opportunity as a way to rethink some of the ways that we're living our lives. Within the field of education, there's currently a lot of thought process behind what to do when you are no longer in the classroom with students, and figuring out the ways in which we can continue the learning process even if we're not there one-on-one. And quite frankly, we're, at least in the United States, not quite prepared for what that looks like. And I think this gives us a chance to really question, what is the big purpose behind education, behind teaching, and how do we replicate that as much as possible in a home learning environment? The same is true for any aspect of life. With this change, how can we take the main parts of life, the most important parts, and kind of shift it into this new reality, into more of a home-based approach? So I think trying to stay flexible, and rather than immediately think, wow, this is so different, this is negative, let's try to spin it in maybe a more positive light and think about using this as an opportunity to question what really matters and to question what the importance is or significance is of each part of our lives, and maybe see things in a new way. How can we shift this? How can we make this work given this circumstance? And as I mentioned, we can also do this with our physical items. Maybe you've previously only used an item a certain way, but given the new landscape of not wanting to go out as much or not being able to purchase certain items, can you get alternative value out of different belongings that you have? This is a new way of thinking about our items that can also help us understand what is truly necessary and what really is more of a luxury. I think these uncertain times are also a great reminder of the importance of practicing healthy habits and self-care on a regular basis. In a way, this situation is kind of forcing us all to slow down a bit and focus more on ourselves, protecting ourselves, keeping ourselves healthy, and oftentimes, that's not necessarily the case. A lot of the societal message is go, 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 keep yourself busy, do all the things, do all the activities, be spread so thin, and that can really take a toll on not only our physical health, but also our emotional and mental well-being as well. And in some ways, this can be a chance for us to reset our health, make sure we're getting enough sleep, trying to eat right as much as possible with what we have, and making sure we're doing what we can to help reduce our stress levels. And especially now that temperatures are warming up, this can be a great opportunity to spend time outside. Getting out in nature not only increases our white blood cell count, but it also relieves stress. So it's really a great activity you can do either on your own or with your family, especially if you've got kiddos who are at home. Getting them outside and being with them outside can be a great option, as well as quality time inside. Using this as a chance to prioritize time and energy with loved ones in your current home, as well as reaching out to loved ones either via phone or online communication, especially in cases where you're not able to physically see those people, just to make sure that so everyone still feels, connected, having that meaningful connection. The last topic I'll address in today's video is to make sure we're practicing gratitude. Obviously, it's not ideal times right now, but even in this uncertainty, there is still so much to be grateful for. Of course, within your own life, you can be grateful that you have good health or that you haven't gotten the virus yet. And I think we can also look at this from a broader lens. I personally feel very grateful that the coronavirus is so much less deadly than many of the other outbreaks that have happened in history. Even comparing it to Ebola that happened a few years ago, if the coronavirus had a much higher death rate than what it is, it would completely change the landscape and be a lot more scary to have death rates like that. I'm also really grateful for all of the different responders who are helping in these situations and stepping up and maybe even putting themselves somewhat at risk in this situation. I think it's a great opportunity to see what humanity is capable of when we work together. And while, at least in the United States, our health system is not what it can be, there's a lot that's broken with it, I am grateful that this particular situation is an opportunity that can hopefully help us improve our health system going forward, and maybe can serve as an impetus to push for improved conditions, better access, those sorts of things, so we're more prepared and we take things more seriously in future situations. Since this obviously isn't the first large health outbreak, and it's not going to be the last. So definitely finding those silver linings. Obviously, this is a tough time for many, but we can still be grateful about different aspects of it. So those are just some of my thoughts related to a minimalist approach in these uncertain times. Like I said earlier, I hope you're doing well. It's definitely important to stay safe, be intentional, and do what is best for yourself and your family during this time. Of course, if you find yourself stuck inside more and are looking for some different decluttering projects to do around the house, I do have a few videos that can help you, and I'm not planning to stop uploading videos anytime soon. Feel free to subscribe so you're able to stay informed of what videos I'm posting. Stay safe, everyone, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.